I'm doing my first ever Booktube tag. This is the reading habits tag, and I know that a lot of people have said they find it annoying when people read out the questions, so I'm not going to, although personally I like to listen to YouTube videos in the background, and if I can't hear the questions, often I don't understand what they're talking about. So I'd be interested to know what everyone else thinks about that. If you prefer to read the questions or have them read to you, please let me know down below. I would say that I do most of my reading when I'm not at home. I work a lot, I teach English all over my prefecture, and that means I also have to travel a lot to and from lessons. Buses, trains, taxis, waiting for trains, waiting for taxis, waiting for buses, and also I always have to arrive about 15 minutes early for my lessons anyway, but I no longer really need that 15 minutes as lesson preparation time, so I spend it reading. Honestly, I don't do a lot of my reading at home. When I do read at home, it's in my bed because I live in student accommodation, although I'm not a student anymore. And it's technically called a one-room mansion in Japan because your living area is one room. I have my desk here, my bed there, my kitchen there, my toilet there, my wardrobe. There is nothing to sit on except my bed and my swivel chair for my desk, and my swivel chair for my desk is not so comfy, so I read in my bed. I do everything, basically, in my bed. Without a doubt, the answer to this one is a scrap piece of paper. Receipts, sweet wrappers, bits of envelope, yeah, scrap little pieces of paper, pens. Yeah, anything except a bookmark, even though I love bookmarks and I have some very nice ones. I never use them. They are never where they need to be. Usually I don't have a choice. I have to stop reading because either I've arrived at my destination or my lesson has started and I have to stop. So in that situation I can do it because I have no choice, but at home, if I'm reading at night in bed, I will frequently stay up way later than I should if I'm in the middle of a good scene. If I sense that the scene I'm reading right now is like in the middle of a slow part and it might pick up thereafter and I might not get to sleep in time for work in the morning, then I will make myself put it down, but it can be difficult sometimes. I'm someone that likes to multitask, so honestly I'm usually doing 2 or 3 things at once anyway, so yes, I do eat and drink while I'm reading. Not knife and fork eating, but chopstick eating is, you only need one hand for a start, so it's easy enough for me to hold a Kindle and chopsticks while I'm eating maybe some instant noodles. Honestly, I've been busy enough that that's what I've been eating lately. And also if you're eating snacks, I mean, all you need is a hand to go in and out of the bag, and yeah, definitely yes to number 4. I don't listen to much music, but I do like to have TV shows on in the background, preferably something I have already seen before so I don't need to pay attention to it. I really like the background noise. I don't tend to have much Japanese TV on in the background because, I don't know, when I'm reading English I want to be surrounded by English. I don't really get how it works. It used to be that I always read physical books and that I read 2 or 3 at a time, but since I've been reading on my Kindle, I have to say I've only been reading 1 at a time. I think when I've read multiple ones at the same time in the past, it's been because the one that I originally started reading slowed down, or sometimes when they're in a multiple narrative and you're particularly in love with one character and you want to permanently be in that person's point of view, but they keep switching you off to other characters that you don't care so much about. Sometimes when I'm waiting to get back to the character that I care about, I get a bit bored, so I switch to another book. At least in the past. I haven't had that happen recently because all I've been reading is really epically good books. I've pretty much already answered this one, and it's basically the theme of this whole channel, reading everywhere. I read wherever I go. Trains, buses, bus platforms, train platforms. Not normally in cars, because I'm never in a car, like a non-taxi car. I would read on my bike if I could, but I'm not Japanese. They can do anything while riding a bike, I kid you not. If I come across a really beautiful passage, then I will read it out loud, just to savour it. I remember at the end of the Tawny Man trilogy by Robin Hobb, there was kind of an ode, a poem that I thought was very beautiful, and I had to read that out loud. I like to read First World War poetry out loud. There's a poem called Sea Fever by John Masefield, I believe, that I like to read out loud quite often. I like to read Tennyson out loud. So if there's something particularly verbally delicious, then yes, I will read it out loud. Again, I kind of mentioned this before, if I'm really eager to get back to another character's point of view, or to a scene where my favourite character has made a return, then I will kind of skip forward, skim to see how long I have to wait, and if I figure the wait is too long, then maybe I'll start reading something else while I'm wading through the part that I'm not so interested in. But for the most part, I don't skip forward. I definitely don't skip to the end, I don't read the end. But sometimes I skip forward just to reassure myself that the bit that I want is coming. I'm not opposed to breaking the spine, although I do have a gift for reading without my books ever looking like they've been read. I'm not deliberately reading like that, but somehow the spine never breaks. Unless it's a really thick fantasy novel like that, in which case the weight of itself breaks the spine. But I'm not. I think books can be more beautiful when they're read and loved, so if it happens, it happens. I'm not going to cry over it. Question number 11 is the last one, and it seems quite divisive. I know there are some people who think that writing in books is an abomination, and for the most part I don't write in fictional books, unless they've been assigned class reading, in which case they become something else to me, and they're meant to have some notes in the margin. And of course textbooks, I have lots of Japanese language textbooks, and they are full of scribbles, and I love that, because that tells me that I use that book, I learn from that book, and I think textbooks should have some notes in the margin. Fiction books, not so much, but textbooks, yes. And that is it for my reading habits tag. I wasn't tagged by anyone, and I don't know anyone to tag in return, really. But if you would like to do this, please do, and leave your link to your video below. I'd like to watch them. And yeah, thank you very much. Bye-bye.